Okay. All right, well, we're gonna get started with the January 2023 Historic Properties Commission meeting. First item on the agenda is to take care of the chair and vice chair for this year. We'll start with chair nominations. Okay. Second. All right, any discussion? Then we can take a vote. All ayes.
Aye.
And any nays?
Sorry, you lost your.
That doesn't count.
All right, so I'll give it over to the chair and take the vice chair.
Okay, well, thank you. Floor is open for vice chair nomination.
I nominate Robbie.
I second it.
Motion and a second. Are there any others? All in favor of Robbie being vice chair, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
He was smart enough, there he's gonna lose it.
Thank you. Okay, well, it's easy being a chair when you got a good vice chair, so we all understand that. Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review last year's minutes?
Yes, sir.
I did not realize that it had been a year. I guess I've been busy also. Now, we can approve these minutes.
Yes.
What about the county? Can we do that by quarter? Was anything in last year's minutes that were?
I guess the only thing I see is last year we made a point about Pat Bailey plaque, and we said we'd have an official report later. And I guess this is later.
Well, we're gonna roll it to the next meeting.
So next year.
Make potential. But about that, do we want to, you know what? Let's go, let's follow the agenda like we got here. Do not have a report for Pat Bailey's plaque tonight. Has everybody had a chance to look at the calendar proposed for this year? Now, next month, we've got a meeting on Valentine's Day.
Currently, there is no business for next month. We'll see.
So it may not be a problem. That was code for I'm trying to get approval from the boss to move forward. Okay, are we good with the proposed calendar for this year? Let me get a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the calendar as presented to the committee.
Got a motion and a second to accept the, oh, now we got a quorum.
Absolutely. Come on in.
It's
I'm just slow. I'm sorry.
Well, we've just talked about the minutes from last year's meeting,
Yes.
and we've approved them, and we're looking at the calendar.
Do you need an agenda?
I got one.
Are you good with the calendar for this year?
He actually has it up on the screen. So
We'll do it on Valentine's Day.
Well, we don't have anything, so, okay. Now we've got a motion and a second with minimal discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Well, if that be the case, did you want to be the chairman?
I'm cheering up.
Just wanted to make sure.
No,
we-
you are so good at it. Nobody wants to take that from you.
So open the door. We don't want it to back up in here.
that's right.
All right. So there's that. Any announcements?
No, staff has just a few things that we are been made aware that there's a project down in Haw River, and y'all know we take care of historic property stuff for Haw River. They have been working for quite a few years on redeveloping their old manufacturing places. So there's one Granite Mills right where you come over the bridge on the left that they redeveloped into apartments. They also own across the street Tabadri. The Tabadri, I think it was 2021 maybe, did y'all make a whole historic district down there, not just one building. So since they're in that district, as they move forward, whatever they're gonna do with those buildings, they'll be coming in with certificates of appropriate use for, I guess, each building, depending on what they're doing. I actually have a meeting with them next week, to kind of clear what they're trying to do. We're staff working on a project, taking all properties that have ever been recognized in Alamance County by Historic Property Commission and letting current owners know, because we know these things change hands, that any work they do also needs a certificate of appropriateness. So we feel like, we hope we're not inundated, but we want to make people aware of how that all works. So we're working on that project to gather everybody and then send out mailings to everybody. Currently, that's the only two I know of. There's some stuff that kind of hangs out in the background, what we hear about. I don't know anything right now that people are going to work with. So if y'all have any projects that you think we need to look into or that y'all are already working on, we'll be glad to help out or pursue anything.
I do have a question. Does the village of Alamance fall under our jurisdiction, or are they a separate?
So when Libby was here, I don't know if it's 2015 or 16, something changed and we had to re-up all those agreements with our local jurisdiction. They did not re-up with us. So I don't think that was intentional. I think that was unintentional. We've talked with being the administrator down there a couple times, and he has said he would like to pursue with us taking it back over for them, but we haven't actually gone through that with him yet, and he hasn't pursued it just yet, but maybe in the future. We did, and then we didn't, but like I said, I don't think he meant to not be included in that. Because Burlington and Graham are pretty much on this, we don't, and Alamance that we don't do for.
Where I started to chase a rabbit ball ago, we're talking about John Braxton or John Braxton. Now, you could tell, but I think he was on this commission from its inception.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound right?
Is a charter member.
I thought
A
so.
founding member.
So, and that would have been back in the 70s.
Mhm.
Okay. He and Pat went to church together, and Pat's plaque, if I remember right, was supposed to go in a little park garden picnic-ish type area
Gazebo out there. somewhere.
down at Bethel Methodist Church. Do we want to put a plaque in vicinity of the same, acknowledging his time and service on this board?
I think we should.
Okay.
I think as a charter member, yes. I'd be in agreement with that.
Well, in that case, I'll look into 2 plaques. All right, well, that's all I got. Unless somebody else wants to do that as plaque.
I do have a question. Since you mentioned Methodist Church, they're undergoing a split.
Yes.
So some of the churches have disaffiliated. So the United Methodist Church is insisting that all signage that says United Methodist Church be removed because it is intellectual property, that word in United Methodist Church. So if a church has a plaque from way back in the 70s, a historical plaque that talks about the history of the church and it lists that United Methodist Church, do we have to take that plaque away?
So we've already had one call,
Mhm.
and then we're to take all that language off. We're like, well, that wasn't the intent when it was given. We will entertain new language saying that this is what you are now, but it needs to include language of what you were as well. That's part of the history.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what they're doing, what we're telling them is they need to present new language to this board for the plaque. And then kind of get that approved, then it'll go to the board commissioners too, and then they pay for the plaque. We're just approving the language to put a new plaque up.
As long as it's within the standards of the Secretary of Interior.
Mhm.
Right, it falls under that.
Right,
We can-
no, and they tend to, well, in a new submittal, they're gonna review for us anyway, give them 30 days, so these kind of things are like, you can run it past them. They merely make a recommendation anyway, but
Yeah.
we would run it through them before we bring it to you.
Okay, so this ball's been rolling for a while. Maybe longer than some people have been here. So these two plaques now would have no reference to the church. They're just going at a piece of that property. And hopefully it would be a piece of property that belongs to the Memorial Association rather than the church. So that if the worst case scenario came, then it stayed there regardless of how the disposition of that other came. So. Yeah.
And what I'm hearing from you is we might have multiple people calling in the next year or so. I didn't know, the guy gave us some background, we thought it was just that church. But now that you say that, it seems like it's a whole.
It could be, yeah, it's across the state so far. Well, just the eastern part of the state, 248 churches so far. So I don't know how many of those are historical plaques.
That's significant.
I've been out of the Methodist church business since 2010. My last paid job sitting on the bench in the Methodist church was 10. So I'm 12 years out of that. But I still deal with a lot of Methodists. And I hear the conversation back and forth, see the news and what all. But what really reached out to me was I started up the road one day and there was one of the churches and they had taken pasteboard and taped over United and Methodist. So you had the church name and then the fact that it was a church. That's when my.
But you're talking, that's on their, just a regular sign saying this is a church.
Correct.
This is what I'm talking about, the actual.
Yeah, historic mark.
Our historical markers. So they would have to put in a submission to request to change the sign.
Right, change the, y'all approve that language, so y'all have to approve and change to that language.
That's when you were talking earlier about the number of committee members we have an even number. Do we have a current opening to make an odd number?
I'm not sure that, we reviewed all that, like, September of last year, I'm gonna have to look at that again and find out why. What is, or do we actually have 12, because I know planning board has 13, and this board was always smaller, so I've got to look in to see if somebody actually has dropped off that list and I've just kept the name on there.
Anything else? Well, we're not gonna set a record tonight, but we can certainly keep our average real good if we go ahead and move this along.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. We'll see you at least next January.
At least 4.